right, what is up? Good morning, PT on Ice Daily Show. Happy Thursday, Leadership Thursdays. Jeff Moore here, CEO of ICE, lead faculty for lumbar spine and cervical spine management courses. Thrilled to have everybody here on a Thursday. First off, always a big thank you for the previous weekend. Jim Gregory in Specialized Physical Therapy. Thank you so much. Last weekend in Asheville was fantastic. We had an absolute blast. We had a full house. We had a sold-out crowd and just some incredibly engaged people. Hey, what's up, Kelsey? Good morning. We're going to be back in Asheville due to the response from that course. We're going to be back in December 7th and 8th. We'll be doing cervical spine back down at Specialized in Asheville to make sure we round out the spine series for the folks who attended. Hey, what's up, Nick? Good to see you, man. Coming up next weekend, we got Easter this weekend. So we're going to go home and get some family time. And the next weekend, I will be with Tim Fearon and the Phoenix Manual Therapy crew. We've got PMT on Ice. So I'll be down in Phoenix with Tim. That's going to be incredible. I've never gotten to teach a whole weekend with Tim, and I've always wanted to. So for those who are in the Phoenix area or Flagstaff area, hopefully you all can make it. That should be an absolute blast. So next couple of weekends coming up should be solid. I see everybody rolling in, so let's get to it. So folks, there's probably, I love Leadership Thursdays. There's probably nothing that I enjoy more than building teams. I'm fascinated by the dynamics. I'm fascinated by recruitment, of identifying talent, of unifying that talent into a collective whole and making that purposeful. It is a true joy for me and something that I love talking and thinking about. And so this topic hopefully can give you all some guidance who are building teams on areas of recruitment that could be worth spending some time. So the topic today is that sometimes picking the worst player is your best choice. So I want to unpack that a bit and see if I can't give it some relevance. So my old man always said, if you want to be a better golfer, play with golfers who are better than you, right? And those are words of gold, right? Like if you want to become excellent, surround yourself with those who are. And I think we all agree with that. I mean, iron sharpens iron, and we've got all these sayings. But I think the reasons that that's true maybe aren't emphasized quite properly, and that understanding them can give you a little bit of insight into recruitment for team building and development. So, the first one being that I think people realize that one reason you get better when you hang around people who are better than you is that they can teach you. Right? We would call that sort of the direct education aspect. Now, I think that one's probably thought of the most, but I think it's probably overall the least relevant. Simply because it's a big ask, right? Like, I mean, if you go out and join a foursome and the golfers are better than you, it's not really their job to actually be teaching you the whole time. Not that they won't throw you a few tips here and there, not that those learning moments won't come up, but it won't usurp the majority of the time, right? Instead, I would argue that the reason you get better when you're playing with those better golfers is because you are actively but independently learning, right? You're watching them play and you're asking yourself these questions of, man, what would I have done there? Like, boy, that looks a lot different. And why did that work so well? And you're actively learning and absorbing this talent from those around you. Maybe even more important is the third reason, and that is that there's an expectation for excellence. Right? When you're around people who are better than you, when you're around people who are exceptional, there is an expectation for excellence in themselves, in those they're playing with, right? And I think that expectation of the group for excellence applies the kind of pressure that elevates the craft because everybody expects things to go well. And that expectation drives a lot of quality behavior. Like, staying with the golf analogy, like I remember one of the biggest differences in playing with high quality golfers was they always marked their ball, right? Even when your ball wasn't in the way on the green, right? They always grabbed the ball, marked it with a ball marker, right? And took a second to evaluate their line before putting the ball back. And it developed these routines, right, that enhance the quality of your behavior because the more you do things the same every time, the better at them you get. When you golf with mediocre golfers, it's very random, right? They all leave the ball on the green. They might even bump it out of the way and put it back, right? There isn't the disciplined focus that drives excellence and skill acquisition. But when you play with those who are excellent, their behaviors are consistent, and consistency drives excellence, right? And so it's fair to say that excellence is as contagious as mediocrity is, right? Kind of the Jim Rohn saying, like, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around. I think these are a few of the reasons why that happens. But what's really relevant here is that, and this is where the talent acquisition part comes in, is that most people don't want to be in the position of being around people who are way better than them. It's uncomfortable, right? Most people don't want to get outplayed. And so even though people, I think, generally want to improve, most people don't want to improve enough that they put themselves consistently in environments where the surrounding individuals are significantly better than they are, because that is by nature uncomfortable. And this is why the greatest talent, the greatest potential that I think you can find in a leader is oftentimes in the lowest performing golfer, right? Or the lowest performing student. Not because they are a low performing student, but because they are choosing to put themselves in an environment where the people around them are better than them because they want to grow the most. But in that environment, at least at the beginning, they do indeed look the worst. But that was intentional on their half. Like, it's fascinating. It's fascinating at my classes to watch people at lunch or at break, right? You've got a sliding scale always, but you can sort of find 2 general poles, right? There are the people that, when it's practice time, gravitate towards their strengths, and they gravitate towards teaching other people their strengths, which is fine, right? But the point is, they want to be doing the things that they are already good at. Okay, then there's these other cats who, although I already know they are tremendously good at a wide variety of skills that I've taught, they could gravitate towards those, but they don't. What they do is they go find people who are extremely good in the areas that they know they are not good. And they become a part of that group because that's where they know their greatest growth exists. So they're actually seeking out these opportunities to be uncomfortable. So when you look around, you would look at those groups and you would say, well, boy, that person there is the best and that person there is the worst. When in reality, what you're seeing is that person who looks the best is not growing at all and instead is choosing to teach something they're already pretty good at. The person who looks the worst is the person who put themselves there to learn a skill that they don't have because they know they have the rest of them, and damn it, they want this one. So the people who look the best are the ones who are remaining comfortable. The people who look the worst are the ones that are choosing to learn. This is a unique person. Like, if you can actually start scanning your horizon in your world for this person, it is a unique person who has a primary desire to learn, a willingness to teach, right? You've got to be willing to embody what you are strong at, show those attributes and educate, right? You do need to play that role of leader, but it's a unique cat who has a greater desire to learn than they have to teach, because they know that when they're learning, they are improving. And so they put themselves intentionally in these positions around people who are high performers in that space, even though it's uncomfortable for most, right? It's where they want to be because they know it's where their growth is. So it's this primary desire to learn with a willingness to teach that I think creates incredible people in business. And here's why. So wrapping all the way around to why choosing the worst player, right, in the moment might be your best choice, is because think about business. In a decent sized company, you've got multiple divisions, right? You've got multiple areas of specialty. So the problem is you want one cohesive culture that envelopes these multiple areas of specialty. If you think about how individuals have to behave on a day-to-day world in that kind of environment, they are generally going to be leaders or the primary lead in one area of specialty, but certainly need to engage and need to foster culture across all the areas. Which means if you look at their actual day, they are going to be in the role of learner or the role of subordinate, right? More often than they're going to be in the role of lead. If you can find people who love that, who are more than happy to lead when called, but also love the opportunity to be surrounded by people who know more in certain areas than they do and just soak up those opportunities to learn from them, imagine what happens to your culture. That is why these people are so special. That is why people who gravitate towards environments where they are uncomfortable, where they are outperformed so they can maximally grow, who desire to be in that place to be fostered, those people are absolute culture gold. Because when you put them into your company, they are going to be soaking it up from all these other leaders. Imagine how that makes those leaders feel, having those eager students and colleagues in their company who want to learn from them. Think about how that feels across the whole organization. So it's really those people you're looking for. Individuals that have a desire to learn, right? They're ravenous learners, but they're willing teachers, right? Those people are often those who, when you first glance at the group, appear to be the lowest performers. It's by their design, okay? So just give that some thought. Give it some thought, because it's so easy when you go into an environment and you look around and you're like, oh, that person's the best. Think about why that is. Right? Why do they appear to be the best? Right? Is it because they are the one who's not learning? Is it because they're the one who's doing the one thing they're really, really strong at? Give that a little bit of pause and look at the actual dynamics of the entire group and see if you can't recognize potential in the most unlikely place, the person who appears to be performing the worst. Give it some thought, folks. Thanks for being here. We're on a plane tomorrow back to Michigan, and I'll see a bunch of you in Phoenix. Thanks again, Jim, for Asheville. Can't say enough about that weekend. Other than that, you guys get out of here. Leadership Thursday. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you all, I think, next week. Cheers.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.